So, a warm welcome to everybody. My name is Aksu Tuominen and I'm a counsel at Borenius. I've been now with Borenius a few years, and my main practice is capital markets. But during the last years, I've been more and more involved with ESG stuff, which is great fun and very interesting. And this topic interests so many, and maybe it's kind of a new era of sustainability. We shall see what is happening. A very short word about Borenius. So we are one of the largest and one of the oldest law firms in Finland, a full-service law firm, and with 120 plus lawyers. And what is very unique, in my opinion, is that in addition to offices in Helsinki and Tampere in Finland, so we have also small offices in London and New York. So that's pretty unique. This is not an advertising. I just want to say that as many law firms, we are also constantly building our services in the ESG area. There are some examples what we are doing. You can see there are very many different practices and lots of people, and you might know that ESG is now coming very versatile. So there are many different topics, and it relates to many practices, and clients nowadays have very challenging questions because the regulation is getting more detailed and more challenging in this way. I also collected some of our recent references. I have a lot of stuff to cover, so you will receive the presentation and you can look yourself what we have done, some examples. Now, today's kind of overarching theme is products and sustainability related to product regulation. And I gathered here some of the current topics in this area. There are very many. Probably everybody has heard about the sustainability reporting, and exactly as we speak, many big companies are very much working on that area. Today we have heard recent news about the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. So in jargon we say CSDDD. And so today Germany and Italy, I heard, have voted down again the proposal from the Commission. So that's very interesting. Another subject that we have, for example, we have the Green Claims Directive. I'll be talking a bit about that. Eco-design regulation, forestation regulation. We'll be talking a bit about packaging and packaging waste regulation. You can see that there are myriad different areas, and I just wanted to put this to illustrate that honestly, no one can nowadays say that would professionally handle all the area of ESG. So there are so many different areas and expertises. So I think that ESG has become a management challenge more than an expertise challenge. So we need right people, right processes, right kind of organization to deal with all these different areas. This is a nice picture from Commission's communication, and it focuses on the products regulation. I'm not going into any detail, but for example, there are some categories the Commission has been working on, for example, construction products, textiles, greenwashing, the digital leadership that the EU is striving to reach in this area, the eco-design regulation, and all these sectoral regulations. This is a very interesting area, and one of the overarching themes for the Commission is also the empowerment of consumers. The Commission wants that also consumers get involved in this big transition into green planet and saving the world. And what are the elements, the remedies that could be given to consumers who are using the products? That's very interesting, in my opinion. The Commission has adopted the slogan, making sustainable products the norm in a more resilient single market. So it kind of sums up well the Commission's big visions in the area. So the first piece, we are tackling 3 different regulations, the green claims, then the eco-design regulation, and then the packaging and packaging waste regulation. So the other 3 pieces, they are kind of related to each other. And we chose this one because they are kind of relevant to Metsä too, and this would maybe give some material for the panel to discuss afterwards. So the Green Claims Directive is one reflection of the grand theme in sustainability, where soft law is slowly becoming hard law. So more detailed, there will be more sanction, more enforcement, not just any more beautiful principles or soft law. And another area which is related, this is also litigation. Consumers, companies, all operators in the market are becoming more interested in remedies, getting compensated, having a say at the court. If you say have a day at the court, litigation. And I think that's very interesting, and it's also more prevalent in lawyers' desks due to this development. So about the Green Claims Directive. So what are the targets of the directive? These are the 3 buzzwords that the Commission is using. So claims, green claims, probably we all know what that means. So for example, if a company advertises saying that we are striving for a cleaner world, so that's a green claim. The Commission's target is make green claims reliable, comparable, and verifiable across the EU. Another target, Commission is very often talking about these informed decisions, that consumers need to know what they are purchasing, and playing an active role in ecological transition. Encouraging companies to adapt sustainable practices and integrate sustainability information into their reporting cycle. And this is a favorite for the Commission, the level playing field, which means that when some companies are doing really genuinely very good work in sustainability, they need to get the credit for that. So there is a level playing field for forerunners and laggards, so that's justified for everybody. Key elements of the directive: establish criteria for proving the claims. There is an idea that a third-party verifier should always verify the green claims that are given. New rules on environmental labeling schemes. There is a big proliferation of various labels, and Commission wants to reduce the amount and make it very transparent what are the criteria behind the labels. And then enforcement, lay down on penalties when you infringe the directive. So what fines, for example, different methodologies. Scientific evidence is the buzzword for the claims. Then this is very important. So in green claims, you should always say whether the claim relates to all activities or a part of activities. And maybe an example gives you the picture, for example, airlines. So certain airlines have been in trouble because they have been saying that they are using these alternative fuels for passengers, but they haven't always told that how big a portion of all the fuels that is. So that's very, very, very important. When giving these claims, all the life cycle should be taken into account, and all environmental aspects. And the two last bullets, so this is also important. So if you are just obeying the mandatory legislation, you shouldn't be given any more credit. That's also a type of greenwashing when you're just doing what you are already supposed to do. The similar is that you are only following the common practice of the sector. Some similar bullets, maybe we can point out the greenhouse gas offsets. So the Commission is now thinking that for offsets, so the companies should give priority to reductions of emissions instead of offsetting. That's a big change, so it could be one type of greenwashing that you only talk about offsets in emissions. That's very interesting in my opinion. Then, for example, there is a new prohibition on aggregate scoring. So that means that you shouldn't combine different aspects of sustainability into a greenwashing claim. So environmental and social aspects, for example. Comparisons should be fair and based on equivalent information and data. And this is very important for the empowerment of consumers, so making the substantiation available. So, for example, a web link, a QR code or equivalent should be attached to the product so the consumer can access the information about the green claim. A few hints. This is totally not based on any legislation, but pragmatic ideas. Companies should collect and organize evidence to substantiate the claims. Be prepared to make the information available. And then maybe the biggest work would be to be prepared to review all disclosure and look at very keen eye whether there are greenwashing claims included, different types of disclosure. Now, I also added a few slides. ESMA is the European Securities Markets Authority, and it published a very interesting report last May on greenwashing, and it looks at the greenwashing more from the investor perspective. But that's very relevant. We don't need to go into detail, you can read it yourself. But I wanted to put this here because ESMA pointed out these different aspects of sustainability where they think greenwashing is most prevalent. So they mention ESG governance and resources. So for example, saying that you have good expertise within the company. ESG strategy, policies, and credentials. For example, your targets and labeling. ESG performance, metrics and targets, and sustainability impact. And then I found this very funny. So what are the techniques that are preferred in greenwashing? So cherry picking, meaning that you only tell the good stories and don't tell the bad stories. Omission, you leave difficult information out. Ambiguity, for example, you say that we are striving for a better planet. Consumers don't know what that means. Empty claims and misleading use of terminology. And I am at least anticipating when the Securities Markets Authority is looking into these kind of issues, it usually means that they are planning on issuing some kind of recommendation or policies, and certainly it's a focus area for authorities within the EU. Then we transfer into eco-design regulation, and this used to be a directive, and EU has already lots of regulation regarding certain product groups. For example, we have had many years directive on dishwashing machines, which you need to have an eco program. But now the Commission wants to change this into regulation. And it will expand the scope of products covered by the old directive and introduce some new requirements. And the performance requirements include energy efficiency, durability, recyclability, recycled content, and repairability. So how well are the products able to be repaired? So right to repair, so to speak. Another novelty is the digital product passport. So this would include information on how to install, use, maintain, and repair the products. And the last one is the very interesting one. So the new regulation would introduce a ban on destruction of unsold products. And in first stage, this would apply to apparel, accessories, and footwear. So for example, for fast fashion companies, they couldn't do that they just destroy unsold products. Some words about the passport. This is again a tool for consumer empowerment. You would access easily the information regarding the products. There would be information on repair and recycling and origin of materials, and this end-to-end traceability. So more information about the origin and value chain and this kind of aspects. And the easily accessible would mean that on the product, so that would be a tag or watermark or QR code. And when I have talked to some communications people, they have been terrified. So for example, you have very small products in the world, and how would you be attaching a tag for a very minuscule product? That's a big problem. And also challenges are so how the digital passport will be designed, operated, how are the privacy rules complied with. An interesting fact about the eco-design regulation is, so Commission will be given power to give delegated acts for specific product groups. And there are some elements they would include. Requirement for manufacturers, authorized representatives, or importers. For example, measure the energy the products consume. And requirements to collect data and report it. Again, some concrete hints. Companies should follow closely the product-specific regulations. These product groups would be first iron, steel, aluminium, textiles, furniture, tires, detergents, paints, lubricants and chemicals. Prepare for the collection of data, and then prepare for the ban on the destruction of unsold products. Just a few words on the packaging and packaging waste regulation. Very swiftly. The same trend, so directive would be changed into regulation to ensure uniform application throughout the member states. This is the key target, so all packaging in the EU should be reusable or recyclable by 2030. That's very soon. And you can imagine how much there is packaging and how much products which are sold in packages. Some elements, I will just pick up a few. For example, certain packaging would be banned altogether. For example, single-use stuff in hotel and catering sector, for takeaway drinks, secondary packaging for cosmetics. For example, if you buy toothpaste, that's normally sold in a plastic bag and then a cardboard box. So the cardboard box would be prohibited. Oversized packaging would be prohibited too. For example, you buy a small product and there is a big package to kind of make it look more appetizing and so on. And there is also a proposal that the empty space ratio would be limited to 40%. This is debated very hotly in the parliament at the moment. I just put here there were 2,000 motions before the parliament, so that's a record. Company and parliament is proposing many derogations, exemptions to the system. There is a bit of a hurry if this wants to be adopted before the new parliament takes over in May. 3 hints: review and update the strategy, ensure that the packaging complies with the recyclability by 2030, and engage with your suppliers. That's it. Many pieces of legislation, many very detailed ones, and the EU is very ambitious.